Welcome to Neurology News Network. I'm Matt Hoffman. Let's get into the news from this week. Just before the new year, the FDA decided to push back the Paduka date for Solriamfetol, an investigational agent for the improvement of wakefulness and reduction of excessive daytime sleepiness in adults with narcolepsy or obstructive sleep apnea. The date has been moved 3 months to March 20th. According to manufacturer Jazz Pharmaceuticals, during the discussions surrounding the draft labeling, the FDA determined that the submission constitutes a major amendment to the NDA. In order to provide adequate time for a full review of this submission, the agency has chosen to extend the Paduka date. In a conversation with NeurologyLive, Dr. Adolfo Ramirez-Zamora spoke about the critical need for the early recognition of Parkinson disease. The Associate Professor of Neurology and the Director of Clinical Trials at the University of Florida's Center for Movement Disorders and Neurorestoration noted that the detection of slowed movements is perhaps the most important thing for him in the early diagnosis of disease. And while early detection is incredibly important, developing better therapies and add-on treatments to address the wearing off of levodopa is another essential area of concern for Ramirez-Zamora. He told NeurologyLive that a big message should be that Parkinson's disease is not only a problem with dopamine. Other neurotransmitters are affected. Serotonin and norepinephrine, they're also affected, and they may actually cause some of the most debilitating symptoms later in the disease. Episode 10 of NeurologyLive's latest peer exchange, Chronic Migraine, New Paradigms in Management, has premiered. In this episode, several migraine experts review the favorable safety data for the recently approved monoclonal antibodies targeting the calcitonin gene-related peptide. Let's take a look.
I think it's important to back up and ask ourselves, why are we even having this conversation, right? And it's all about antagonizing the effect of a potent vasodilator. I'll say a couple of things. One is that it's not the only potent vasodilator in the human body. There's a lot of redundancy in the system for good reason. That would be number one. So if you antagonize the effect of one, you may not affect vasomotor tone. Number two, when you apply the receptor antagonist or the antibodies to an isolated blood vessel, whether it's a coronary or you name it, it doesn't constrict the vessel. So it's not a direct vasoconstrictor effect. The concern is if someone's already having myocardial ischemia or cerebrovascular ischemia and they're going to have a stroke or a myocardial infarction, could you expand or increase the size of the infarction because you've taken something that might provide dilation of collateral blood vessels? I think that's the concern. And so people should be aware of the fact that these don't directly constrict blood vessels. And the only reason we're talking about it is that it antagonizes the effect of one vasodilator in the human body.
For more direct access to expert insight, head to neurologylive.com. This has been Neurology News Network. Thanks for watching.